Everybody, welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm finally here with my review of the BlackBerry Key2 LE. So I did my unboxing video, I did my comparison video with the regular Key2, and now here we are with the full review of the BlackBerry Key2 LE. So the BlackBerry Key2 LE, or Lite Edition, is a scaled down spec-wise model of the Key2. So the Key2 came out first, and then I guess they realized people didn't want to pay $600 something, $699, whatever it was, for a Key2. So they came out with the Key2 LE. Comes out with three different colors: the Slate Gray, which is kind of this grayish blue color that I have here, the Atomic Red Edition, and the champagne colored one. So they look almost identical. And if you didn't know any better, you might not even know what the differences are, but there are fundamental differences. And the nice thing is they actually have them available on Best Buy. I just checked now before I started filming this so I could be able to say where you can get one at. And they're $349. You can get the Atomic Red one. Originally, the Atomic Red one was $399, and so is the Champagne one, and the Slate Gray was $349. So you can get any of them for $349 on Best Buy right now, which is a good deal. Now, what are you getting with the Key2 LE? So it's got a Snapdragon 636 processor in it. It's got 4 gigabytes of RAM. It's got a 3000 milliamp battery. It's got the 13 megapixel camera on the back with the 5 megapixel depth sensor, so you can take your portrait shots. And then it's got an 8 megapixel camera on the front. Now it's got this rubberized texture back on it. It has a headphone jack on the top. It's got a USB-C connector on the bottom, so you can charge it with. It charges it pretty quick. It's quick charge compatible. And then you've got your fantastic physical keyboard there. Let me get this up here so the light's not in the way. So you get the physical keyboard. Now, the main difference with this keyboard compared to the regular Key2 is it's not touch sensitive. So you can't swipe your finger across the keyboard and have it act like a extension of the screen like the Key2 does. And also the spacing is kind of compressed a little bit, but the buttons are still supposed to be the same size, at least as far as I know. And it does have a more rigid spacebar on it. A little bit smaller, and it's not as clicky and loose as the one on the Key2, which was kind of a little annoying with the first generation Key2 that rolled off the shelf, but it got better. Now, the fingerprint sensor is still built into the spacebar, so that's really cool. You just press down on the spacebar with your thumb and it unlocks the phone. It's actually really quick. Another difference you're going to notice between the Key2 and the Key2 LE is the way that the keys feel when you press them. I think they have a little bit less traveling distance, so it feels more firm whenever you're pressing on the keys, not as spongy. The Key2 buttons do have a little bit of a spongy feel on the tactile response whenever you press the button in. But overall, it's a fantastic performing phone. I really enjoy it. It does have a couple drawbacks, especially as opposed to using the regular Key2. But overall, for $349, it gets you like 90% of the same experience that you're going to get with the Key2, which is surprising because the Key2 has the Snapdragon 660, which is more powerful. It's got 6 gigabytes of RAM versus the 636 and 4 gigabytes here. And it comes in a 32 gigabyte and 64 gigabyte storage variant. I have the 32. So there are some key differences though, which you can watch the Key2 versus Key2 LE comparison video if you want to learn a little bit more about that. But primarily focusing on the Key2 here, the Key2 LE, we'll go ahead and talk some more about the phone itself and the experience. All right, so the signal on it actually works nice. It's GSM unlocked, compatible with 4G LTE GSM networks. Perfectly fine. I don't have any issues there. One thing that is a drawback for me is the handset volume. Maybe it's just because I'm hard of hearing, and I am hard of hearing after spending 16 years in the military, working on the flight line, working around firearms, all that stuff. My hearing, not so good 3 deployments later. So whenever it comes to these things, handset volume is really important to me. I have a hard time hearing on here. Now, I can hear, like, the volume is there, but it feels like I have a hard time. I guess it's just not loud enough for the words to accentuate properly, and I have a hard time sometimes understanding people. I have to pay really close attention to listen versus the Key2, I can hear much better. So the handset volume may be fine for you, but for me, it's a little on the low side. The texture on the back is nice. I actually like this more plastic rubberized grip that they have on the Key 2 LE versus the Key 2. And it's actually, I really like the way the frame is. You know, people would normally complain about a polycarbonate frame. Just so you know, polycarbonate is a manufacturing term for plastic. So the frame is made out of a really hard, durable plastic. It doesn't have any IP rating. There's no IP67, no IP68 dust and water resistance, which, I mean, with this porous keyboard, you're not going to get that anyway. Headphone jack works perfectly fine. You have your power button, your volume rockers, and your convenience key. Your convenience key you can configure for multiple different profiles, so you can use more than one thing on it, short press or long press. And then you have your regular keys. So one nice thing about the BlackBerry Key 2 and Key 2 LE is all of these wonderful characters on the keyboard function as shortcut keys. So you can program them to whatever you want. You can have B be browser, you can have M be text message, you can have C be Chrome, you can have G be Google Assistant, and you can just, while you're on the normal home screen, press the button and it'll take you right there. And then you also have the speed key right here. So the speed key works as a tandem key. It's like a tag team duo. So when you're on the home screen, you just press one of these buttons, you press it for a short press, and you can configure it for a long press as well. So if you want C short press to be calculator and C long press to be calendar or Chrome, you can do that. So you can have two different functions for the same key for short or long press. And then you can have a speed key primary assignment as well. So when you're inside of an app, it works differently. So let's say I'm inside of an app, I'm inside Google Chrome, and I want to use my, I want to use B to go to Boom Beach. You press B, it won't work because it assumes that you want to use the keys while you're inside the app. So that's where that speed key comes into play. You hold the speed key, you hit B, and then it'll take you to Boom Beach. So that's how you use it when you're inside of apps. So that's really nice. Now, the keyboard itself, I absolutely love. The spacing, it does feel a little bit more cramped than it does on the Key 2, but you kind of get used to it. You're using one or the other, and they both work perfectly fine. I actually like how there's a more of a rigid feel to the buttons on the Key 2 LE. Overall, if the Key 2 LE actually had the Snapdragon 660, the dual 12 megapixel cameras, and the extra RAM in it, I would prefer the build on this one. I actually enjoy the Key 2 LE more than I do the Key 2. It feels more BlackBerry to me. It feels more like an original BlackBerry. They were, you know, like the hard plastic. The Key 2 has the metal frame on it, and it feels more slippery. This one, I really don't mind carrying it without a case at all. It doesn't bother me. But the Key 2, it worries me when I carry it. So I enjoy carrying the Key 2 LE as it is, au natural, and I like the way that it's made. It's balanced well. It has a great weight to it. The performance is good. Now, the two hangups that I really have with this phone, because I don't even care about the touch-sensitive keyboard. I don't use it that much on the Key 2. So I'm perfectly happy with the Key 2 LE being cheaper and not having it. And if BlackBerry makes a Key 3, I hope that they kind of come in around like the $499 price point and ditch that touch-sensitive keyboard, because I don't think that it's really worth the extra money that's involved in there. So that's something to pay attention to in here. So with the keyboard, with the overall performance of the phone, I've only run into it a few times where if you have too many apps open, it'll kind of give you a low memory management thing. And that's because it's still using Android 8.1. It has a lot of skinned stuff in here for the BlackBerry launcher experience. So it has a lot of stuff going on in the background, the Detect Security Suite software, the hub, other BlackBerry things that are in here too. So there's not a whole lot of free memory available. And normally 4 gigabytes would be pretty good. So some people say they don't run into that problem at all. I have a bad problem of opening up a ton of things and leaving them open. So it'll give you the warning, you go and you clear stuff out, it's good to go. It doesn't really impact performance that much, as long as you clear it out whenever it gives you the low memory notification. But it's snappy, it's zippy, it works good. The interface is nice, it's secure. You still get the monthly security updates. BlackBerry Mobile has been very good about that. So that's good. The screen is essentially the exact same as the Key 2, and it's got the modified 1080p resolution on it. So you're getting over 400 pixels per inch. I think it's like 433 pixels per inch. So It's got a lot of good stuff going for it, and especially at the $350 price point. If you wanted to try BlackBerry, it's only a year old now, and BlackBerry said they're not really going to engage in the whole annual upgrade cycle thing. So if we see another one that comes out in 2020, then you're not going to have too much heartache about going out and investing in it like you would with a Key 2 at this point, because you're still looking at like $500-600 versus the $350 price point for the LE. So that's one of my other complaints. So going back and backtracking to the memory, wish I had more memory. I have had that low memory warning thing pop up. So the low memory and the handset volume, really the only two things I have to complain about with this phone. The camera is okay. If you used the Key 2 or you've seen the Key 2 camera, it's got dual 12 megapixel cameras. This one, they gave you a 13 megapixel primary shooter with a 5 megapixel sensor, depth sensor for the face detection, autofocus, the portrait photos, and all that cool stuff. The natural ideal lighting photo conditions are almost the same as the Key 2. And I believe the rating on the camera, I think one's like a 1.8 and the other's like a 2.2 versus the Key 2 versus the Key 2 LE. So the aspect ratio is, I don't want to say aspect ratio, but just the native viewpoint is a little bit different. I believe it looks a little more zoomed in on the Key 2 LE, if I remember correctly. I took some comparison pictures. I'll show you all those here in a minute so you can see kind of the Key 2 versus the Key 2 side by side. The Key 2 LE pictures, they look very similar as far as actual sharpness. The contrast is pretty on par, but it does look a little more white. It looks more light, a little more washed out than the Key 2. Not saying it's a washed out looking photo, but just it has more like a overall the light exposure is brighter. So you have the light exposure difference, and then you get a little bit of the sharpness around some of the stuff is lost a little bit whenever the lighting changes. There's definitely a difference that you can tell between low light and night shots. So the Key 2 is better at night photos, it's better at low light. Those two 12 megapixel cameras working together are superior to the Key 2 LE, but the Key 2 LE does not take terrible pictures. It takes perfectly good ones. And I'll show you those here, and then we can talk about them more inside of the camera review itself. Just talking about it a little bit more, but you get your portrait shots. It doesn't have a wide angle lens, which, that's something that, wasn't as popular a year ago when these came out. But overall, the picture quality, I think you're going to be perfectly fine with, especially paying $350 for a BlackBerry and getting the fantastic keyboard that goes along with it. So here we are, and I'll go ahead and talk about these pictures here now with comparison with the Key 2 and the Key 2 LE. All right, so here's a direct comparison between the Key 2 and the Key 2 LE. On the left is the Key 2, on the right is the Key 2 LE. And like I said, you can see the light exposure is a little bit different. The contrast is slightly different, as well as the color saturation. Right here, we have the Key 2 LE on the left and the Key 2 on the right. You can see that the colors look more true to life. They look deeper. They don't look as bright, and it loses kind of the waxy look whenever it comes to the plant's natural look when it comes to like leaves, flowers. Here, the Key 2 LE on the right, Key 2 on the left again. Right here, though, you will notice a little bit of a difference. The Key 2 LE is on the left this time, and you can see the star better, but the cloud does look a little more dingy, a little bit, it's less bright. The sky does look better. It pops out better on the right, which is the Key 2. And here again, the Key 2 on the right and the Key 2 LE on the left. So you can see there's not a whole lot of difference in image quality, but it's mostly a little bit with sharpness and color saturation. It's not the best camera in the world. It's no pixel camera, but for a 13 megapixel standalone shooter with, a $350 price tag, I think it takes pretty capable pictures. All right, so that's all I've got on my full review of the BlackBerry Key 2 LE. The battery will still last you all day. The Snapdragon 636 with 3000 milliamp battery. It's a nice combination. I do feel like the Key 2 lasts a little bit longer just because it's got the 3500 milliamp battery and you're not using a ton of power with the Snapdragon 660. But overall, this should get you through the day. You got your 1080p resolution. It's great. If you like the keyboard, I think the keyboard's fantastic. I really do enjoy it. Honestly, if it weren't for the touch sensitive thing, I really I do like the Key2 LE keyboard. I like pretty much everything about the Key2 LE more than I do the Key2, other than the fact that the Key2 is more powerful and it's something that I need for my day-to-day needs because I do a lot of stuff on my phone. But this, totally great for a normal day-to-day phone. For an average consumer, you're probably not going to notice really much difference at all between the Key2 and the Key2 LE. And physically, yeah, it has a less powerful processor. It has less memory. It has less storage in some instances, and it doesn't have the touch-sensitive keyboard. But I think that those are pretty fair trade-offs for the $349 price tag versus like the $600 price tag. So um, I think it's durable. I think it's going to hold up well for at least another year. I'm really hoping they're going to come out with Android 9.0 really, really, really. I just tagged BlackBerry Mobile on Twitter today, and I was like, hey, we're going to get an update. Of course, they're probably not going to reply to me, but I'm hoping that moving forward, that would be a good vital sign, a benchmark for where things are headed in the future, because I think that it does need Android 9.0. But as far as things are right now, with everything with the integration with the keyboard, Android 8.1, the monthly security updates, and $350 for a phone, I think if you wanted to try out BlackBerry, you'll be happy with it. So that's all I've got on my review of the BlackBerry KEY2 LE. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section. I'll get back with you. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Give it a like and subscribe. If you enjoyed the video, hit the notification bell so you can get the latest and greatest. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time.